Hi, everybody. This is the Art Lounge, Friday, the 4th of August. So, we've been trying to record a very nice session of the Art Lounge, but we are having problems with the space. So, please hold on tight there. Thank you for tuning in, and we will just get everybody back on track. But I want to have the space run smooth, especially because it will be a recorded space. So, thank you all, and apologies for, let's try again. So, hey, Kant, how are you doing today?
Hey Blue, I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, no, besides having to restart the space 3 times, I think I'm doing okay.
Oh, never mind that. That keeps happening sometime. Let's go with the space.
Yes, no, absolutely. Yeah, so I'll just have to, just get my co-host back and everybody. So that means I'll just have to quickly advertise the link again there, and we'll just start up, back from where we've left off. But Murphy's Law, they say, when something can go wrong, it will go wrong. Best is just to deal with it and fix it as quick as possible. I might rather fix it now in the beginning of the space than later on. Okay, I'm nearly done with that. People should be showing up any moment again. Let me just fix all this. Okay, good. That's all done. Now I'll just have to wait for it to take effect. But yes, it's a pity because now all the marketing that you've done for the previous space is all in vain. So that's a bit of a problem. But here we go. Almost had SP there up for a moment, and I've had Aya and I've had Nazim there and a few others. But yes, let's see if we can get them back again. So how's things with you, Decant? Hello, Con. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. So I was thinking, meanwhile, we are waiting for the more people. You can let me know what you're going to talk about, like the YouTube version. What's it all about?
Well, how about I make you co-host for now, and then we'll just kind of work it out. Um, yes. So the main
Yes,
thing
yes.
is like I'm trying something new here, trying to be innovative, trying to incorporate another channel into our Twitter audience. So it will be kind of more dedicated towards interviews in the future, but just kind of trying to experiment it first and see, how people feel about being on another platform, using something on Twitter to be broadcasting on YouTube. So being deliberate about it, and kind of clarifying the intentions from the start. So, obviously, this is a new kind of concept, being so bold about it. So therefore, it's a bit of innovation, and there's a lot of important things about that that can be said. So it is important for you when you do this to also make note that anybody coming into the space that does participate as a panel member, will be kind of giving rights to be exhibited on YouTube. So it can benefit the artist. It can. It really just depends on the angle and the motive behind it. So yes, a lot of kind of like experimentation going on. So it doesn't really bother me too much how it ends up. I know that the initial link got broken, so everybody thought the space got crashed. But it's okay. It's just an experiment. You have to experiment, and if it doesn't work out, then it just means I have to build more on it and just create more awarenesses around it and just stick to it. And it will grow eventually. But it's not supposed to be a miracle. There's no secret source to anything. Experimentation is just all you can do. What do you think of this idea?
Do I think this is really interesting. And having a YouTube channel, I think nowadays it's very necessary because it gives all the information in visual manner, which is quite very reliable. I mean, because of the human instinct, it's very reliable source, which I mean, it's very stronger than the voice. So
Yeah.
it's always advisable. I mean, you come from the filmmaking, so you understand like the visual memory or the visual representation and how it's stronger than the voice. So I think having a YouTube channel is quite necessary, especially when we are talking about the visual arts, because when we assign certain information like the voice and music, the impact is really marvelous. So I think this is a good idea having a YouTube channel as well. Uh, in the post you just pinned on the Jumbotron, I read, please note that by participating in the panel, your work will be featured on YouTube. So what is this about?
And that is very, very important. It means that in real laws, in terms of the media, you must actually state that you are recording the spaces for the purpose of sharing that on another channel. And you have to then broadcast the link to that specific place where it will be featured. So it is very important to actually, in terms of the law around recording, you must state what they are signing up for, so that the audience does have a say in terms of whether they want to be broadcasted onto another medium like YouTube and whether they agree to that. So by stating that tweet about that, it really then also clarifies the whole idea that this will be used as a recording on YouTube, and that is very important for people to agree to, um, which is just part of part of the media. It's inevitable. Else you are kind of opening yourself up to being capable of being sued and these type of things. So yes, that's part of the benefit of actually having studied film and television. It really opened me up towards understanding the laws of production, and to have like necessarily all the necessary paperwork. But in this regard, I wouldn't be able to give you a signed consent paper. So therefore, for by having a statement like that, it acts on behalf of that consent paper that is in agreement between yourself and the artist present. So, that is a very important thing, and a very important element of the media. And, that consent really can mean a lot. So, like for instance, if we kind of like grow this channel of Blue to Black, argument's sake, in the future, then we can have ways of making sure that the artists that are featured can also have like a benefit from this. So extra exposure and more publicity, overall promotion, and those type of ideas, and experimenting with YouTube in terms of promotion, art promotion. So yes, it's going to take way too long for you to really build that big of a audience base on YouTube to actually monetize the channel, but it can function quite well in terms of promoting art and building a reputation for promoting art. And that really is at the core, what is really essential when you get to different platforms, and how you kind of tap into different platforms, like what's up my business, or having a Threads or an Instagram or a Facebook page, and YouTube, LinkedIn. All of these ones, they all function in a different way of really giving you different value to your specific uh, career. And you need to really approach it like that. You need to kind of like, as this one YouTube clip kind of said, you need to you know uh, kind of close those holes in the bucket. Wherever you feel something is, your work is in vain, kind of fill that hole. Make sure you give yourself that more exposure. So this week has really been, the major lessons that I've learned this week was about your online presence on multiple platforms, and how much it is to really focus on that. And if you kind of start focusing on YouTube, then it's no use having just one video. You need to build constant material. You become a content creator, and you need to source data. And doing that alone is very difficult. And then kind of like, rather, making it be a community effort, making it be like a community coming together and exhibiting themselves to a larger audience, wherever that leads, is still important, to still have consent. And yes, so that goes out to a warning to everybody out there that also wants to do this. It is important to actually, to a degree, ask for consent. May you learn that from the space here today. And what's your take on that there, Kant?
No, I think I completely agree. I think the people should be informed about these certain actions if we are going to use the images or the whatever the work is. I think people should be informed and they must agree. I mean, they should be informed consent. I think I completely agree with that, and I appreciate when you explained it clearly that the people who will be on the panel, they will be presenting their work. Their work is going to be on the video when it's going to be on the YouTube. So I think it's better people understand when they are about to present their work, they are on the panel. So I think Tamanna raised her hand. She wanted to say something. Maybe she wanted to join the
Yeah, hi
conversation.
Kant. Hi Blue. Thank you for having me. It was a bit earlier in the conversation. I guess the conversation has evolved into something great. But even I guess at an individual level, a YouTube channel would be very interesting, like Kant was mentioning earlier. I mean, this is a recorded space, and I want to be a little careful about what I say, but like my thoughts, I guess I'll just put it out in the universe by just, I guess, being front loading it a little. Um, it's like, the thought is like Kant was saying, I do write poetry, and the way, other than accidental photography that I some get some good pictures from, and I can possibly get into Web3 with that. But also parallelly, I write poetry, so I was like thinking of maybe whipping up some AI art, and because I'm hopeful to have a decent voice, I can voice over my own poetry, and add some light stock music along with um, the AI art slash animation. I don't know what it'll evolve into, and then basically club the three. It basically make a three-pronged presentation of voice and voice poetry and voice poetry in text, AI art and stuff. Like make it a bit of a couple minutes worth of a video, however long the recitation lasts. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add at that point. I mean,
Great idea. But you know what? I give you full permission to remix snippets of this um, recording in terms of also using it as in terms of promoting yourself. So if you feel like finding this recording on YouTube, and you can go to an area, a specific area where your work are being presented, then you're more than welcome to cut that part out and also remix it for yourself. So I will also give full permissions for people to do that, so that you can also gain from this. It also adds value to yourself, to your profile, and it becomes a type of just an overall kind of recording that you can tap in terms of self promotion and personal brand building.
absolutely. Thank you so much for being gracious about that, Blue. I hope I don't have to bother you with it, but I will very graciously accept your such a lovely offer. And I fingers crossed. It's just a thought, and it's very very nascent. It's very very new. I don't know how I'm gonna go about it, because a few of my skills are rusty and a few of my skills are absent, which involve doing this. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting journey. The first such presentation will possibly take a little more time than the others after, but I'm excited. I fingers crossed. The only glitch I want to bring up, I guess, right now while I'm at it, and why not? If let's see what thoughts you guys have. I'm mostly right in Hindi. It's an Indian language. It's a predominant Indian language from India, and I have a lot of, I think, in that language most of the time. I do have a bunch of good English poems as well, like three or four. I can count them on my fingers, but Hindi, I have many more. Um, on the contrary, I have heard a lot of Western influences trying to learn Hindi because the population and the numbers are in India, uh, in terms of number of people and stuff. So there's multiple thoughts I'm just letting out there like butterflies, and I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Well, I think let's start with a good introduction as to who is Tamara at the Mana. And, then why don't you present us one of those beautiful poems in both languages, if you have one? Because I think that would really, put the icing on the cake in terms of your own performance and your own way of really expressing that unique emotions that form part of, that glimpse of that poem. I always feel that the poem is really like a fleeting emotion, like you are feeling like that, and then you get to a conclusion, and then that poem almost becomes like that capturing of that very specific moment in time when you really felt like that. And sometimes poetry needs to be really fresh for you to really be honest about how you're feeling at that very particular moment. I'm not saying you have to make up a poem here, but you're more than welcome to present us one of those.
Surely, Blue. And before I start, I'll start with an Indian, like a Hindi poem, and then I'll conclude with an English one. After which I will, gently take your leave. But before that, I want to bring up the point. I remember you mentioning the freshness of a poem and therefore the context related to it. I want to say, every time, like it's a different me, even when I'm starting the poem, and a different me when I'm ending it. So every time I'm going to read it, it'll be a different context. But I think the magic of poetry is that we find fresh context, yet the words, each of almost all the words are relevant, even in that context. I think that's the magic of good poetry, and I hope to achieve that with whatever I do or write. Yeah. And so I'm excited and fingers are crossed, and I hope. And the reason I said it, a lot of people are a little careful about it before they've even started to kind of talk about it like that. But I'm, for the first time, or one of the few times, I'm, trusting and operating from the place of love and not fear. And I hope I send it out to the universe so it comes back manifold after having touched many, many, many lives along the way. It's like that invisible force field that's out there. So I'm gonna just start with my poem. This poem is about silence. Kant will understand it better, but I'm sure if there is, I dream of this AI technology where there is live translation in spaces of language in languages of choice. That'll be amazing. Can't wait for that to happen. But in the meantime, here it is, and I'm glad this is recorded. So somebody in the future will also draw from it. Um, Here it is, about silence. Kant, are you there? Thumbs up if you are. Okay. Khamoshiyan. Khamoshiyan means silence. Silence is, different angles of silence. Here it is. Khamoshiyan. सांसों के बीच आपकी इबादत भरी ये खामोशियाँ, आंसुओं का आंचल ओढ़ती, हर आंसू से इजहार करती ये खामोशियाँ, सपनों को थाम के अपनी जिंदगी जी जाती ये खामोशियाँ, कुछ आपकी कुछ हमारी, यूं मिल के गुनगुनाती ये खामोशियाँ, जिल्लतों से जूझती पर कोशिशों में लिपटी ये खामोशियाँ, हर पल चीखती फिर शर्म से सिमट जाती ये खामोशियाँ, तड़पते महकते कई नगमे गुनगुना जाती ये खामोशियाँ, इनके राज पढ़ लो ना जरा, एक अरसे से इंतजार करती ये खामोशियाँ, जो थाम लो इन्हें तो खुद से आज़ाद हो जाएं ये खामोशियाँ, लिपट जाओ ज़रा इनसे तुम कि कब से आंचल फैलाए हैं ये खामोशियाँ, साथ दे दो कभी राहों में तुम, कर्जदार रहेंगी ये खामोशियाँ, अपनी खामोशियाँ बांट लो ना इनसे, आपकी राजदार रहेंगी ये खामोशियाँ, हाय ये खामोशियाँ. Thank you.
Well done. It sounded like the language of elves. It was absolutely beautiful. And the tone, I couldn't understand obviously what you were saying, but in terms of the emotion, in terms of the thoughtfulness that in your, in the tone of the delivery, it does come across as very contemplative, very soft, deep, emotional, contemplation. Really something that seems like it touches on nature, love, and femininity.
Thank you so much. That's so well said, Blue. And you know, while you say it, it occurs to me this is the true test of me as a poetess and as a reciter of my own poetry. Is that I'm able to convey the emotion. It's the toughest thing to do, I feel, because music has tune that has that on its side. So all I have is my voice and its modulation. And when you say this, it's very encouraging, and I'm sure it's gonna help me um, um, break out of any gentle or not so gentle perception blocks I may have. So thank you for those kind words. Thank you. I'll
And how about you, Kant? You understood what was being said there. So how about giving us a bit of a translation in your own perspective?
Okay, I'll try doing that, and then I'll recite my English poem and that. So I'll go line by line. Khamoshiyan means silences in multiples. It says, सांसों के बीच आपकी इबादत भरी ये खामोशियाँ. This means um, in between two breaths, there are these silences which are full of worship and homage, and there is covering themselves with a veil of tears and acknowledging their love with every teardrop are these silences, the silences that acknowledge or confess their love with every teardrop while they, you know, draw a veil of tears over them, the silences. And then they hold hands of dreams and live their lives among them, these silences. A little bit of yours, a little bit of mine. They they come together and sing and chime these silences. Wow. I'm getting poetic in my translation. They zillaton se jujti, meaning they are they struggle with naysayers, or they struggle with finger pointers, and but still पर कोशिशों में लिपटी हैं खामोशियां, but they still keep trying, and they are wrapped in trials, they're wrapped in trying one more time, these silences. हर पल चीखनी, every moment they scream these silences, and then फिर शर्म से सिमट जाती ये खामोशियां, and then they just shrink in shyness, these silences. तड़पते महकते, meaning they are restless and they are fragrant, and while they are restless and fragrant, कई नगमे गुनगुना जाती हैं खामोशियां, they sing so many songs of longing, these silences. इनके राज पढ़ लो ना जरा, would you please come and uncover their secrets. एक अरसे से इंतजार करती हैं खामोशियां, they have been longing and waiting for you since so long, so long, these silences. जो थाम लो इन्हें, if you just held their hand, or if you just held them, तो खुद से आज़ाद हो जाएं खामोशियां, they would free themselves of themselves, these silences. लिपट जाओ ना जरा इनसे, would you just embrace them, would you please just embrace them. कब से आंचल फैलाए हैं ये खामोशियां, since when they just plead in wait, they plead in the wings, they plead by waiting, these silences. साथ दे दो कभी राहों में तुम, um, please come and hold their hand, or walk along with them while they're on their way, or on their path. कर्जदार रहेंगी ये खामोशियां, they'll always be in your debt, these silences. अपनी खामोशियां बांट लो ना इनसे, would you please just even share your silences with my silences? आपकी राजदार रहेंगी ये खामोशियां, they will be your secret keepers always, these silences. Thank you.
Beautiful. It really comes into context now with the different uses of silence, and how that kind of sometimes reflects in a relationship. where the different relationships that you can have with family, with lovers, with just neighbors and acquaintances and work colleagues and so forth, and the different dynamics that the silence can have, and the different role that the silence can have, and how contact can be that element that breaks that boundaries of that silence, and kind of like makes it possible for that person to then open up, start expressing himself, start breaking the silence.
Interpreted Blue. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to have the poem and the translation interpreted so beautifully. Thank you.
And Kant, what about yourself? What's your take on the poem?
I'm at loss of words. His poetry is really beautiful. Um, every I mean the every sentence of the stanza goes very well with the next and the last stanza. It's like the feeling is actually slowly growing, and especially about the silence, it's handled with lots of delicacy and the sensitiveness. I think that it's a wonderful poetry.
Thank you so much, Kant. That's very kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just I have a choice between, I mean, of course we're going to keep meeting. This is not the last, so I'm going to wait to recite my more popular poem called Free Your Mind. This moment somehow implores me to recite a poem on love that I've written. It was an accidental poem. I rarely say this story. I've in fact never said the story. So I was just thinking of changing my profile picture on Twitter, and they were like, why don't you add caption to this? And then I started writing something, and it turned into one line, and then it turned into 4 lines, and that turned into another set of 4 lines. And before I knew it, I had a kind of a sort of a poem on my hand. And it's interesting. So here is that poem. It's a simple one. It's not as layered or complex, but it is definitely has a lot of heart in it. So I'd love to bow out with this poem. Here it is, about love. A moment of hope, a moment of love, a moment so dope, I take flight like a dove. Will you read my eyes? Will you hold my hand? All else is lies, slipping away like sand. When your heart sings and mine adds a tune, it makes the desert sing in every heart's dune. Come, let's bring hope and spread the love abound, for it's the only thing that'll last forever, long after we're around. Thank you. End poem.
Once again, very beautiful, well presented. And there's such softness and grace to your voice when you deliver poetry. I like that. I like the fact that you dive into that emotion that you're reflecting there, and that just gives so much power to the poem. And I absolutely love it. And it almost makes me feel like I might have to also contribute something to your conversation in terms of poetry. And so this is also one that I wrote in 2006, still many years ago. But I've been keeping a journal, of like my life, and so it's really easy for me to kind of page back to all the way to 2003 and have this bit of perspective, on my life in terms of, the different things that we go through. And this poem is called The Red and Green Light of Sensation, and not the poem that I often recite, but I hope you enjoy it. Love often lies in your fingertips, an ongoing legacy within your relationships, the mental and physical contribution to the vulnerability of our emotion. To know nothing makes you a beginner, a comfortable virgin and sinner. The blind man's touch of seduction in sounds of romantic stimulation. The eye contact before a kiss, the great calm before a storm hits. The hug, a crying connection and gift in giving attention. The hurt it brings never ends, but the heart in forgiving mends. Here lies the beauty of appreciation, within expectations but no obligation.
Very, very well phrased and well recited. Thank you, Blue. Thank you so much.
No, that's a pleasure. Yes, poetry is about emotions and is, various emotions that you go through in your life. So, obviously you don't always feel like that. You do kind of move on, and even the poem in itself can bring a type of a conclusion to a specific emotion, like you had that inner conversation with yourself, that inner conflict or that drama kind of unfolding. So, that also remains true with all poetry.
Indeed. Indeed. Well said. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so what has your experience been in terms of Web3, in terms of Twitter, in terms of NFTs? Are you participating in those things?
So I've been just more on the observation side until now. It's like I mentioned a little earlier about the idea I had about a presentation of sorts in terms of my poetry. So that's just an idea, and it has its own learning curve and time involved in it. But I do have a few photographs and stuff like that I'd like to start my Web3 journey with. Yes, there is the beginning is close now. I will be. I do have one piece minted. It's my poem. It's a poem on pain, but it's not for sale. It's just something that I created and shared, and was very early in my time and introduction after my introduction to Web3, or NFTs or the world, so on and so forth. So it was a very hasty yet a very sincere attempt at minting. So I do have it, but it's like I said, not for sale. So officially, I guess I will begin very soon. I hope so. Fingers crossed.
I'm glad you say that because I think it's important for you to really try and incorporate technology into, your capabilities, into your arsenal, into your tools, and why not embrace it? Why not experiment? You have to experiment in order to know if something's going to work or not. So nobody knows anything for certain. You can know everything about everything, and you still won't know. So that's just part of the package.
Absolutely, and I just shared this reel on Instagram the other a few hours ago. It says, it was Ed Sheeran, I think, and he's like, nobody talks. Success doesn't teach you anything. It's failure that teaches us so much, and that teaches us so much. And none of us talk about failure, and we kind of brush it under the carpet, and we feel ashamed by it for so many reasons. Let's not get there because a lot of us have different contexts to all that. But in general, I mean, of course, allowing room for exceptions, there is a lot of shyness with failure, and a lot of people being very shy about it. Yeah, that's the word. And so it's important that we embrace failures, we talk about it. Yes, we don't, there's a thin line between enjoying them and dwelling on them versus acknowledging them and learning from them. And so if we never get close to the line, we'll never know the difference, and we'll never know how to be on the right side of things. In fact, it'll be an accidental lesson in emotional intelligence to embrace failures like that, because until we do not embrace our failures, we will never be able to accept ourselves. We all are made up of yin and yang, and if we don't embrace the black, we will not be able to celebrate the white.
Well said. Well said. No, that's definitely true. And that's also kind of part of, the meaning of blue to black is it really looks at, the light and the dark, and how essentially then everybody is that shade of light and dark. So even in the darkest emotions there can still be, that flickering of hope. That's really essentially what that refers to, and how we all are kind of like that shade of, good and evil, instead of, anybody being evil or anybody being really good. You have that internal conflict of survival, you have that inner conflict of, just the meaning and the message. And yes.
Yes, very well said and substantiated. The other thing I wanted to quickly add before, I know I've been just coming in installments, so I'm sorry for taking up too much time, but I'd like to just conclude and taper off on that note with this, that it's the idea is to try to vibrate always in love and kindness, because our inner core, our spirits are always unbiased love, and uncolored. It's neither good nor bad, it's just love, and it just is. And the idea is, we are going to get into the grays, like you said. We are going to make, maybe sometimes, do things, or come across things or feel things that are not so ideal, and that makes us appreciate the good parts more. But when we are in the middle of that emotion, or we have just come out of it, the idea is to not justify it to ourselves. It doesn't matter what we do with the world. I mean, it does, kind of does, but as long as we overall vibrate in love and kindness, and in the during the bad parts, don't never try to justify it. It doesn't become a hard set line in the stone. It remains a line in the sand, and we're able to overcome it much more easily, and therefore be able to shed parts easily. The idea, I guess, eventually is to keep shedding and keep shedding and keep shedding until there is nothing left, and there's but peace.
And that is more than possible. And Kant, I see you back here. What's your? You've been kind of missing out a little bit here, but let's get back to the poetry. Did you have anything to say about that?
Hey, hello again. I'm using our account, backup
I
account,
can't. I guess
because I was not able to account. So, well, poetry. I think this is the
you're
poetry,
you're
second
rugging a
poetry
little bit.
also. Oh, am I audible?
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I
it's
can hear you
better.
fine.
Am I
Go for
audible
it,
to
Khan.
you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, go. Keep
Okay,
talking.
Yes.
fine. So I think both the poetries are very beautiful, very delicate, very sensitive. Um, First one is really remarkable about the silence and the way it's repeatedly used. But in every how to say stanza, the intensity or the way it vibe is very different. So I mean, in every stanza, it has different kind of signature. And about the second one, it's also again the way within the poetry the love is being contained. Really interesting, and especially because the feeling, the way it's expressed. Obviously, it's the feminine understanding about the love. So it looks very fragile and very delicate. So it has that certain characteristic. At the same time, overall, it looks very strong because the emotion is overall when we try to understand the poetry is very strong. Emotion of love is really, yeah, I think really strong in the poetry.
Thank you so much, Kant, for the kind words. You've always been very generous, and so has Blue. Thank you so much, both of you. And thank you, all the listeners. And, I know 8088 year 999 has been very kind as well, and all the listeners and speakers as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolute
Oh,
pleasure, and you're more than welcome to join us here in the co-host position if you like, because now we're going to go to 8088. And 8088, why don't you start by introducing yourself to everybody here in the panel and the listeners there as well, so that we can get a bit of an experience of what is 8088.
Thank you very much, Blue. It's a pleasure. It's like I'm honored, like to be in this panel in this space amongst real gems in wisdom. तमन्ना जी, आपने जो भी अभी बोला, that was really awesome. My Hindi may not be that great, but I could understand every single word of it, and it was really like an amazing treat. Especially like I am in a place at the moment. I mean, like I'm based in Arabia at the moment, and it's 11:30 over here. So normally I hail from India. I was based in Bombay. I'm a Bombayite. I've been here in UAE or Dubai, we say, for the last 35 years, and that's where actually, like so I am getting like pretty. I can say that my youth and my middle age and my old age, everything has happened over here. However, like more than like India, the Indian art in general, Asian arts, like because Dubai being a melting point of various cultures, like we do enjoy it and we get this opportunity to come across to the best of the best. And today I am actually really pleased. Thank you very much, Blue, because that because of you, like I could witness this beautiful moment. And coming to my name, actually, it's a digitally written of the alphabet. My name is basically Bobby, and 999 is like I have got too much nine in my life. So my like birthday, everything is nine. Like my wife's birthday, that also comes as nine. The place where I live, it comes to be nine. So I am a nine person actually. Like anything and everything, like out of this thing, coincidence, or I do not know why. But yes, I embrace this number, and especially like I am into angelic arts, like revealing the lost armies of angels coming in nine hierarchy. So that's where actually my artistic journey also comes across. Now art was something like which like unlike many of you people over here, I wasn't blessed to continue my life in art very much because of various reasons. So it was later, like thanks to COVID, that gave this opportunity for an alternate thinking or perception, or like lot of those kind of things, so which prompted me into this space. And I am in this web3 space for last I can say almost like around 9 months to happen very soon. And I learned a lot, I have failed a lot. I was i was basically like introduced to the space of by a scammer.
I seem to be
Someone
losing you a
wanted to
little bit
scam
there.
me, and through that he actually helped me to learn more about this subject, which was dark for me, and now it is pretty clear.
Yeah, no. So,
Am I rugging?
tell us about some of your artworks there. You're more than welcome to post an artwork there on top, and let's have a look at some of your work. I can't. I really look forward. I really feel the emotions kind of coming through your artworks, and therefore I really see this big lesson. Con, don't you agree? Coming, and I would love for
Can
you to kind of bring that in context to your artworks there. Seems like he just got a little bit deconnected. Let's just wait for him to get back on top online. Bobby, let me know when you're available to speak again. Bobby, can you hear me? We seem to have lost. Khan, can you still hear me?
Yes, Blue, I can hear you. You're loud and clear.
Okay, so I think we lost Bobby there. He's just probably bounced off. He'll be back in a moment. Yes, he seems to be touching on a few deep emotions there. Okay, Bobby's back again. We'll get him back on top on the panel. Bobby, are you back again? Can you hear me? So why don't we start by posting one of your artworks there on top for us to have a look at?
You are speaking to me, I presume, right?
That's correct,
Awesome.
yes.
Thank you very much. I will just present my art. 1 second. This is my collab with my another. Yes, this is what actually I would like to present today. Um, this is a collab between me and a girl from Pakistan, a young girl from Pakistan. Her name is Salwa. She is also known as NFT Studio. And let me just explain you a bit about this art so that the beautiful hidden meaning can become transparent. This is titled as the Wagmi. We all gonna make it. I am happy to be here before you to present this very core. As we observe this masterpiece, we can't help but recognize the reflection of our own lives within it. In tiring times, we often find ourselves surrounded by estranged relationships, economic hardship, health issues, and the fear of darkness or the night that lingers in our mind. Yet, dear friends, I implore you not to lose hope, for this art carries a profound message of resilience and hope. It draws its essence from the Holy Bible, Psalm 35, and Holy Quran, Surah Al Inshirah, Surah 94, verses 5 to 6, which reminds us that after every night of weeping or tribulations, there will be a morning or moments of joy and ease. This art, when you look at it, there is a right side and the left side. The the left side reflects birds flying out. Like it is basically inspired by like the theme of dusk, and the right side is inspired by the theme of dawn. It's like focusing on the twilight hour in our life. So, like when you are in the dusk stage of your life, you might see like relationship leaving you, economic hardships, and all those things happening. And you are soon approaching a night of unknown or unawareness, and lot of things like that. Lot of dark um, thoughts and fear associated with it. And this is where actually the scriptures comes reminding us that after every night there is a dawn of happiness. And same goes in our journey also. Like whatever we are going through, the bear market or whatever hardship we are going out, This will be soon changing into a bull market of happiness. The core of this thing is to have the patience. Within the Wagmi, so within the Wagmi, basically, it's a reminder of resilience and it's a reminder of harmony and unity. These are not the moments of despair or kind of because of darkness, whatever it is. Like, we all are together in it, and through cooperation, collaborations, love, and brotherhood and harmony, together we can come out of this darkness or this unknown tunnel successfully. And that's the profound message which actually we would like together, in our collaboration, we would like to give it to the universe. I am, as mentioned before, like I'm hailing from India, and my other partner who did this animation, and it was her photography and my seraphim art actually, like we embedded into this. She hails from Pakistan. Probably some of you would be knowing or aware that actually what relationship currently or probably for the last 2 decades India and Pakistan will be sharing. Yes, there are lot of wrongdoing, lot of hurt things, but that doesn't mean actually that these things cannot be solved. So apart from a political message, it is also about unity of scriptures and faith-based perspective, perspectives. Thank you very much. I hope you like this piece, and this piece is available in Tezos, and the link is also there. Feel free to visit and share it within your community, your friends, so that this message of peace and harmony and brotherhood goes far and wide in this planet. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Yes, when I do look at this piece, I do see that inner peace, that tranquility, that dusk that you're referring to, that dusk in our lives. That moment, of, where there is still light, where there is still, that level of a lot of darkness, but there is still that light. And, your journey to the light, your journey to follow, the warmth and of your soul and those type of things. So emotional in that degree. I can't